Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Tier 2 round number 6 here at Kyalami. I am Fizzymon. I'll be your commentator once again. We are here for a 60-minute long race in the night time at Kyalami in South Africa. It's looking to be an exciting one, but before we bring to the action on track, let's first, go back to our memory banks a little bit. Let's take a look at the championship standings as they are so far going into this round. So, currently sitting at the top once again is Tom Ray here with a 108-point gap. He's very far ahead, and he actually does have an opportunity to win the championship today, though it's going to be a tall order right now as we speak. Ray here needs to win the race and for Connor Wright to not score any points. Now, you're asking, so what does Connor have to do to not score any points? Well, he simply needs to finish outside the top 30 or DNF. So Wright has been very consistent all season, so that's highly unlikely that it happens, and I don't believe Ray here will round out the championship today, but he can take one step closer to get to that championship trophy. So Connor Wright is in P2, like I just mentioned. And then dropping all the way back in P3 is Ole Pitschich. The Ukrainian had a pretty bad Imola after a very strong Bathurst, so he's looking to have a rebound today. But due to the incidents that he was in at Imola, he does have a stop-go 30-second time penalty today, so that will definitely hurt his chances of having a very good, recovery I don't know, redemption drive, I guess is the right way to put it. In P4, we have Alex Torgrosa in the Mercedes making some moves after having a pretty good Imola. He is up with 207 points. Gillian Hardenberg up to P5 with 196, very close behind the Mercedes, up ahead, leading the Numschlap Shumiskins. In P6, we got Florian Bauer in the Mercedes. Bauer's been really struggling these last few races, but is looking to put together a good race today. Pasquale Di Lucia is up to P7, while Justin Hooley dropped to P8 after not racing last week. In P9, we got Simon Ramsayer, and rounding out our top 10 is Nico Ull. So, a couple guys who did not race last week have returned this week. That includes Ull. I believe Hooley said he was going to race this week. Let me just confirm that he is here today. I don't see him in the lobby at the moment. Could be a little blind, but I know Ull is here, so he has returned. July Sorp is down in P11. Chris Jones sitting in P12. Dakuza in 13th. Dennis Latz is holding 14th right now. He had a pretty strong recovery drive after having a strong start to the race and then getting involved in an incident that sent him towards the back. Marlon Andrade, who we saw get beached last week, hoping that a 650S will not do that again to him, because that was a very weird glitch, and he said it was just the car was just bottomed out and he could not get the rears going. Jay Fang moves up to 16th, while John Sebastian Castaneda, who did not race last week as well, drops down to 17th. In 18th, we have Shooter, and then right behind, a huge move for Nuri Konjaglu, who's all the way up into 19th. Nuri looking to continue that momentum going forward, but they were not excited about this race. Samir Foch sitting in 20th, Andy Vandervelde P21, Jack Simpson down to P22, Paolo Lima up to 23, Rea Obi, after a fantastic Imola drive, is all the way up to 24th after scoring a bunch of points, and Frank Pedrozzini is in 25th, and that rounds out our top 25 for today. Now, once again, before we give you the action on track, we'll go ahead and show you guys a hot lap submitted once again by our very own Alexander Irish. Now he's living the pizza. He's another here. Now turn that down. And we'll kind of take a look. You know, he did his hot lap. I'm not sure. I guess he's in a practice session or whatnot. But we'll go on board now. He goes into Crawthorne, which is turn number 2. It's almost a full-on hairpin there, but you can get a nice exit that goes into the Duke Skates. We'll work on that pronunciation as we go along, which is turn 3 and 4, and then he goes into Barb number 5. I believe, yes, he is now onto the long back straight, going into Sunset now. It's a long sweeping right-hander, which is turn 6, which comes out into Clubhouse, which is a decently long left-hander, but it's a lot slower speed. You do have to apply those brakes there, so you might see some things there. Now into turns 8 and 9, Acid, which is a very quick part of the track. In the endurance race that we AOR hosted a while ago at Kyalami, it's all handled in the S's. And now the S's, you got a decent straight all the way down to local cop, which is turn 10, and then turn 11, another left-hander. After that, somewhat of an hairpin. And then it's a pretty quick run down to the line shaft for turn 12. Easy left-hander, full throttle, then into the hairpin of 13, which starts the crocodiles. Now, it's a very tricky part of the track because it's kind of a blind part of the track. You know, swing wide here, do not want to invalidate on exit as you go into 14. And then cheat right here, another blind corner 15. Very quick, just like the name says. It's also very easy to invalidate. Now through the last corner, turn 16, away. That finishes up the lap drivers. So that is kind of what we're going to be looking for today as a driver goes about their hot laps and in the race. So that is a very good estimate for us to see. But now the drivers have started to go onto the track. So let's go out to the racetrack right now. As you can see, look at that Richie B, but let's look up towards the front. One of the guys who I saw in the practice session flying was Dennis Latz. He's in a different liveried Ferrari this week. You know, this white and blue versus the green and black he was running previously. It's a very nice livery nonetheless, and he is towards the front of the queue behind our championship leader, Tom Ray here. Both Ferraris looked pretty quick in practice. They set very low 1 minute 41s. We'll see if these drivers can get into the 40s, because that could be a make or break part about this, as we'll turn on the game volume as well. It seems like it is a little low for you guys as well, so let's fix that right away. Because it definitely would be nice to hear the roar of the engines in the background and not just my voice talking the whole time. And that should be a little better. Nothing too loud. If it would please stay up for me. Yeah, nothing too loud here. But either way, as we look at the action on track right now, the drivers are currently on their outlaps. Everyone but one car is on the track. We have, it looks like, 31 cars today. So a bigger grid than we saw at Imola. I believe Kyalami is a little bit more popular, and there is no signs of rain. So as the track is currently listed as fast, but it will go optimum as the session goes on, and the times will continue to drop. So I do not expect to see any 1-minute 40s at the start of the session, but if someone does, then that would be very impressive now. So yes, that is that. A couple other little things to tidy up that I was informed by the coordinators. 3 drivers have a drive-through on top of Pitch Stitch's stop-go 30-second penalty. Shooter, Alexander Irish, and Tobias Gerhardt all have drive-throughs that have to be served within the first 3 laps, and that was due to license points gathered during the season. And license points, basically what happens is if you get to 15, you get a drive-through. You get to 25, it's a stop-go 30-second penalty. But if you have a clean race, you knock off 5 license points per race that you are driving clean. So it's a forgiving system, assuming you are able to keep it clean, which is not too hard. But then again, this is racing at one of the top levels. We are Tier 2, and there is 10 tiers that have been going on while we've been commentating these races. So these guys are mighty quick and looking to give us more action today. And the only other thing to note is Volkan Izicek has switched from his Mercedes to his Ferrari. So let's see if he is currently here today. I do not see him, actually, on my director's list. So that is unfortunate. We don't get to see his new-looking Ferrari. But now, as the drivers finish their first hot lap of the session, let's see what kind of lap times we're going to be seeing from the front. So right here, leading the way with a 141.4. Oh, excuse me, 141.9. Latz goes fastest with 141.4. Completely blows that out of the water. Bauer, pretty close behind Latz. But let's just kind of let the times come in now. Neri Conjuglu, in 5th. Andrade all the way down 8th. Andrade looks pretty quick, actually, in practice. Let's go to Andrade, not Cali, who just jumps in front of Andrade. His McLaren 650S did seem it was towards the front of the queue now as the track goes optimum. But then again, not everyone might have been pushing in the practice session for quality trim. So I'll have to wait and see as the session goes on what kind of times come in. So looking at the front right now, I've got Florian Bauer sitting P2, right here P3. Oh, excuse me, Richie B, who has returned to racing with us, up into P3. He's ahead of right here, who's down to 4. Mateusz Kazicek is back as well, the Polish driver. Now down to P7. He was P5 after getting displaced by Jan Klimes and Frank Predrazini. So both that Porsche, Klimes right now, the highest up he's been all season. Klimes has had some pretty up and down season, I think, to say the least. And he's currently 36 in the championship, only 40 points. So it'd be nice to see that Porsche towards the front of the grid. Frank Pedrazini's had some pretty good races too, but not the best qualifying session. So it's another guy who we would love to see battling towards the front. And Mateusz Kazicek, another driver who we've actually seen him qualify towards the front, but he hasn't really finished towards the front. So hopefully we can see a little bit of a 180 there. So 3 drivers there, currently sitting in the top 10 after their first lap. So in a pretty good position, but, we still got 9 minutes, 44 seconds left. So anything can happen as the drivers continue their hot laps. Up towards the front now, right here has displaced Latz. He went quickest overall to 141.3, but once again, everyone's kind of in like a line. There's a huge gap. You can see it's about a sector's worth gap as Latz goes off the track and returns to the pit. So he has decided he's going to leave this queue and bug out. Connor Wright has jumped up to P4 in his Aston Martin, now down to P5 as Adam Dubiel almost steals pole position from right here. And Gillian Hardenberg says, I'm going to take pole, matter of fact. Thank you very much. Hardenberg, 15 thousandths of a second on pole in his Ferrari. So Hardenberg's looking quick once again. Ole Pitchich, who has that drive-through, currently sitting in P5. The Ukrainian looking pretty quick. Once again, Jay Fang has actually jumped all the way up to P7. The Chinese driver looking to keep his momentum going after having a very good Imola, actually a very good Bathurst as well. Fang looking to keep that hot streak going. He's currently up in P7. Drade down in 9th. Cali 10th. Richie B, who was towards the front, all the way down in 11th. So you can see now as the track goes optimum, how the times are dropping. Frank Pedrozzini, who was in the top 10, all the way down in 19th now. So a lot of guys in their first laps were not clean, but that second lap, you know, it's 1 second from 1st to 23rd. How about that? That's a pretty close margin, to be honest now, as the drivers continue to shuffle up. Grigor Stankert up into P10 in the Ferrari. So another guy who has moved up the grid. Simon Ramsayer in 14th, and Paweł Jarzbakowski in 15th. So as after the first few runs, right here does not have an answer to Hardenberg on this lap as he crosses the line. Is Hardenberg still flying? Hard to tell right now. His delta was green by 0.2 hundredths of a second. I believe that's 0.2 hundredths. I do not believe that is seconds. So let's keep an eye on Hardenberg now. Can he be the first driver to go into the 1:40s on this lap? Goes a little wide on exit out of Ingwe. Now across the line, Hardenberg does not improve, but you know who did just improve there? Adam Dubiel with a 1:41.184. Dubiel up into provisional pole with 7 minutes and 20 seconds left. So great lap there by the Polish driver. You know, he's another one of those other guys who, you know, who's had some up and down qualifying sessions, but he hasn't really put that race together. But maybe if he can get towards the front, you know, he might be able to, you know, make it happen in clean air. Jan climbs all the way up into second position in the Porsche. The Porsche looking very quick around Kyalami. It's the first time we've seen that Porsche really fly this season so far. Andrade's up to 6, and Latz is down in P7. And Jay Fang also up to P6. So drivers moving around a lot right now early on in the session. We've got 6 minutes, 40 seconds left. So plenty of time for a lot of action to happen as we look at the helicam of that Porsche. You know, these cars, it's really hard to see some of the liveries. You know, this Porsche, that purple really blends in, and thankfully we have the lights so we can see them. So it'll be a little bit of a darker race, kind of like, you know, one of those Game of Thrones episodes where it was pretty dark out. So do apologize for that now, but that is night racing for you, and this track is not really well lit up. So we'll just have to, you know, do the best we can, give you all the action possible, and we'll keep it going. And now, looking at our front runners, Hardenberg still out on track. I believe he is still doing hot laps right now. He hasn't come back into the pits for a fresh set of tires, so he might be trying to rubber on the track. Or he's improving on his lap. Not sure. My monitor says he is a 10th up on his lap. Will that be true by the time he crosses the line? Hardenberg, he does finish a 10th up, but he's still 12 thousandths of a second off Adam Dubiel for pole with a 1:41.196. So close, but no cigar for the Ferrari driver right now. Right here, though, he did return to the pits, and now he is looking to start. I believe he is on an outlap right now. So we're going to have to keep an eye on right here. Climbs and Fang also into the pits. Grigor Stankert up to P6 right now. He's looking mighty quick. He just set his fastest lap of the session. Let's go right on board with his Ferrari. We haven't really talked about Stankert much this season, but looking pretty good, but going way too wide there. That surely will have invalidated his lap. Going through the exit of Sunset into Cheetah. So very unfortunate to see from Stankert there, but still got 5 minutes left, so anything can happen. Look around the grid right now towards the back. We actually have 32 drivers. Alan Rake is at the back of the queue along with Chen. 2 of them have not set valid lap times yet. Shooter is currently sitting in P30, but he has that drive-through, so it won't really matter as much. Mario Marins down 29th, Dakuza 28th, Dejan Milicic 27th, and Neri Conjugal, who at the beginning of the session was towards the front, but you can see just how like close this field is. A lot of these guys are like a second gap between first and, well, 1.1 seconds between first and 27th. But up towards the front, though, it looks like actually Tobias Gerhardt just joined the session. So briefly said he was on pole, which is not true. But let's look at our current provisional pole sitter. If Adam Dubiel now starting another hot lap, so let's go on board with him. Can Dubiel, the Polish driver, improve on that time and kind of gap himself to Hardenberg? I don't think Hardenberg's coming into the pits. So Hardenberg's going to do this whole session on one compounded tires, which is a very interesting decision to make, but if it's working for him, then by all means. Now, riding on board with Dubiel, though, as he goes out of barbecue and on the run through Sunset, using all the track, you know, riding the curb, going into the corner, touches that apex for about a second there, comes out, does not hit the grass like we saw happen to Stangert. It's a very tidy lap so far now as he goes through Clubhouse. Dubiel looking very quick today. You know, the Ferrari, I was told that the Ferraris are one of the quicker cars today, while the Mercedes not so much. And Dubiel and Hardenberg both proving that right here as well, but right here is usually right here. Speak of the devil, does go provisional pole, but Dennis Latz says no, this is going to be mine. He's the first driver into the 1 minute 40s. Latz has got 2/10 to right here. What a lap by Latz right now. Great job by him. And behind him, Jan Climbs. Where is Climbs right now? Climbs is currently going through the third sector. That Porsche, like I said before, looking very quick. He previously set his fastest lap of the session on the last lap. Can that Porsche improve on the lap? We'll have to wait and see. We got the 13 car coming up the line. That's Gillian Hardenberg. Hardenberg, I think I saw his dot as blue. So he's got enough time for 2 laps. So I guess he did come into the pits. Yeah, his last lap was slow. So he must come into the pits, put on a fresh set of tires. So he's looking to bring the battle back for pole. Adam Dubiel, though, looked like he was on a very fast lap. What will this lap be? Nothing. It was a 141.7. So it looks like he made a mistake after we rode on board with him, because the first part of his lap was very clean. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Connor Wright now coming out of Ingwe and up to the line. He was previously doing that lap. Now this is a hot lap now, so got just over 2 minutes left in the session. Wright does a 141.9, so no improvement for him so far. Who else do we have? We've got the 22 car. The Florian Bauer currently going into Ingwe now. Does Bauer have an improvement in him? Does not look like it according to my other monitor, so he's going to have 2 more chances. Got this lap and 1 more by the looks of it. He'll be towards the end of the queue now. Drivers who will be starting their last lap will be Latz and right here now. Coming out of the final corner, Frank Pedrozzini's in the pits. His session is done. Latz now coming out of the final corner. Yeah, these guys are starting what will be their final lap. They will not cross the line in time. And Latz pulls over, so Latz just decided he cannot improve. He did a 140.6, though, last lap. So Latz is 3/10 clear of Tom Ray here, who's going one more time to try to steal back pole position. But it's going to be tricky because 3/10 is a huge margin. He'll be the last guy starting their final lap, so we'll keep an eye on it now. Right in front of him is the 27 or the 427 car. Of who is that? That is Mateusz Kazicek. Not too far up the road. It looks like the same in the same kind of car as Adam Dubiel, but Mateusz goes right into the wall. Hopefully that doesn't ruin Ray here's lap. He's parking the bus right in front of Ray here, and Ray here pulls over because his lap just got ruined by the crashing Ferrari. He's got to be very mad under the cockpit there, and his session is done. So right here cannot steal back pole. Adam Dubiel, though, going into turn 1 now. He's got this final lap to kind of bring it back to the top 2. He's got to get at least 2/10, though. Very tall order to ask of him. Gillian Hardenberg, meanwhile, going through Sunset right now. He's still got a ways to go. Let's look at the final sector. We've got the 74 car coming through the final corner. Who is that? That is, I can't figure it out. There it is. That is Richie B. Running up to the line. He'll be one of the last guys to start his final lap. Handful more guys in the pit. Chen's session's done after he jumped up to 14th after we saw him briefly all the way at the back. Samir Foch, Mateusz Kazicek, as we saw crash out, is in the pits. Richie goes P12 there. Ole Pitchich jumps up to P3 on that final lap, so that was a very impressive lap for the Ukrainian. But where's Adam Dubiel, though? Dubiel currently going through Lukop. Hardenberg a little farther ahead. So Hardenberg, let's keep an eye on him now as he goes through the Crocodiles. His delta says he's up by 0.4 of a second right now. If that is true, Hardenberg may contest pole here. You know, it's going to have to wait and see as he comes out of the Cheetah. Gets a little squirmy there, but now into Ingwe. Can Hardenberg steal back pole position or at least put it on the front row? His delta said he could. He was 0.5 up. Hardenberg up to the line. It's P2, 15 thousandths of a second off pole. That is so unfortunate for Hardenberg, but he's currently sitting on the front row. Next, though, is Adam Dubiel coming out of the final corner. Can Dubiel put his car up towards the front? He goes P4. He will go no higher. Where's Ole Pitschich? Pitschich coming through Mineshaft right now and into the Crocodiles. We'll have to wait and see if he can improve. Andrade's not too far up ahead. The 11 car goes off in the background. His session is done. Pitchich, though, being slowed up by 2 cars ahead. That's an Audi. That's a spinning Audi. And into the wall in the background. That is Tobias Gerhardt, who's into the wall. He will not improve from P21, but can Pitchich possibly improve his starting position? He's currently down in P5. He will not improve. Richie B is one of the last guys on track right now. He's coming up to the line now. Can Richie improve? No, Richie starts 13th. Behind him, can Florian Bauer jump up the leaderboards? He's 16th, and Bauer starts 16th as well. So that is your starting order. Dennis Latch. It looks like some drivers a little annoyed by some of those lats, by some of the other drivers in the session, but that is okay. And it happens. We'll certainly see some of that stuff in the stewards. Very unfortunate, but yeah, we'll have to, just have to let it go. Not much you can do about it, and we'll just have to wait now as we go to the race session now. So let's go into the helicam so we can give everyone justice as we go through the grid per usual. Pole position is Dennis Latz. Latz looking to finally put together that good race. We saw him have a very good Monza way back when. But then since coming, where was he? Was he P2 that race? He was P2. Since getting that podium, he has not had very good luck at all between incidents or not. He's only scored 44 points since then. So Latz looking to change his fortune here today from the front row. Alongside him, though, is Gillian Hardenberg. He's no stranger to starting at the front, and he has battled at the front a decent amount this season. But we'll have to wait and see if Hardenberg can finally get that race victory he's been looking for. But 2 guys who have not won a race up in the front. Behind them, though, someone who has won 2 races is Tom Ray here, a championship leader, looking to round out the championship today, or at least make it almost impossible to lose. Right here, starting P3. In P4, though, is the Polish driver Adam Dubiel. Now, his best qualifying position of the season. Dubiel is similar to Latz in the fact, well, they've had some pretty good qualifying results, but no real good races to match it. So Dubiel looking to change his fortune. LA Pitch starting P5, but he does have that stop-go penalty that he does have to serve in the first 3 laps. So even though he's starting out 5th, he will drop way down the order. Very unfortunate for the Ukrainian to do, but we'll see what he can do. We'll keep an eye on his recovery drive. Jan Klein starting in P6 alongside him, the Porsches. That is the Porsche's best qualifying session of the season. The Czech driver having an absolutely phenomenal session there. Look forward to see what Klimes can do towards the front, because we haven't really talked about him much. He's only got 40 points to his name. Has been running towards the back, and the Porsche has looked really slow so far for him this season. But hopefully that changes today. Connor Wright, currently P2 in the championship. The British driver looking to get a few positions. He's guaranteed one with Pitchich pinning. But he can see his championship rival not too far ahead, and he needs to have a good result if he wants to even consider still being in that fight. Jay Fang, the Chinese driver, looking to carry his momentum, currently sitting P8 in that light blue McLaren. Had a pretty good qualifying session there, one of his better ones. Question is, can he keep that momentum going with his good race sessions and possibly crack the top 10 in the championship, which is not too hard. He's not too far behind where he's sitting right now. It's very doable. Paweł Jarzykowski, we've seen him qualify. Another guy we've seen qualify up towards the front, but he's not had good races to his name. Would love to see the Polish driver have a good race today. In 10th place, we've got Dejan Milicic. Nice to see him starting in the top 10 again. The McLaren driver, he's had an up and down season. We saw him battle a lot in the first few races, but then it looked like he was a little incident prone. Hopefully his fortunes change here at Kyalami. Grigor Stangrit up into P11. That's definitely his best qualifying start of the season. Stangrit, another driver similar to Klimes, we've not really talked about towards the front. He's mainly been one of the guys battling towards the back, starting P11. Certainly will change his fortune today. Nico Ull, who has returned to action, we can see him with that Ninja Sheep racing car in that Bentley, starting P12. He's been known for not having great qualifying sessions, but his races have been phenomenal. So we look to see him continue those really strong races and improving on his position. In 13th, we got Richie B, the Dutch driver, in his Aston Martin, starting 13th. He's no stranger to also gaining positions, but we only saw him at Hungary so far, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do. And he's got a very tough opponent next to him with Marlon Andrade in that McLaren 650S, which has been more of a race car rather than a qualifying car. And he's made that car work so far, but of course he is using a gimped car per se, compared to the drivers around him. In 15th is Chen in that Lamborghini. Chen, who was basically did a one-shot lap there. We saw him all the way at the back, and then all of a sudden put himself into 15th and into the thick of things. So I'll have to see what he can do with that Lamborghini. I'm kind of excited to see what the Chinese driver has to offer today, as you know, he's usually given us some entertainment so far this season. Florian Bauer, speaking of entertainment, that's probably his worst qualifying session, starting all the way down in 16th. But hey, maybe that's the change of fortune he needs. You know, he's been towards the front last few races, but while being at the front, you know, he's gotten into some incidents, and you know, and it's just his race gone hill. So maybe he just needs that change of pace, starting in the middle of the grid. This might be what the German driver needs. 17th, Pasquale Di Lucia in his Ferrari, another guy who's a little out of place right now towards the back. Compared to where he normally is. But Di Lucia, we look to see him have a good race as well. Andy Vandervelde sitting in P18, the British driver in the McLaren. He made it work last week. He was one of the drivers that had a pretty good drive, but I believe he was involved in a few incidents as well. So even though he had a pretty good race car, the weather at Imola caught him off guard. Frank Pedrozzini in the 19th in the Audi. He was one of many drivers who at the beginning of the session looked pretty quick, but wasn't really able to improve on their time as the track continued to improve. Samir Foch down in P20, the Ferrari. He's got a nice stripe on the side of that car. That's probably one of the ways I always remember his car. It's a very nice car. And then the Austrian rookie driver looking to improve. He doesn't really talk about him much recently. He had a couple good races earlier on, but at this point, it's kind of been a smell of stagnant. Tobias Gerhardt down in P21. The Audi has a drive-through, so he will not stay in the position. But we'll have to keep an eye on him as see if he can kind of make a recovery drive. P22, we've got Mateusz Kazicek down the order, the Polish driver, starting in 22nd. He's had some varying races as well. He's been into a few incidents, so hopefully he can keep it out of the wall. But we'll have to wait and see. Alex Torregrossa. And we mentioned him being P4 in the championship. He's all the way down at 23rd. He was able to work his way through the field at Imola. Let's see if he can do the same here at Kyalami. Paolo Lima, another guy who just stayed out, who had worked his way through the field at Imola, just stayed out of incidents and was able to make it work. So he's down 24th. We'll have to see what he can do. Simon Ramsayer has shown a lot of pace this season, but I haven't really seen him in the last few races because he has not been attending. So we'll see what Simon has to offer today at Kyalami. Glad to have him back. Alexander Irish in that BMW was very quick in the wet last race, but he has that drive-through, so we'll have to see if he can bring that pace here and in the nighttime. Dakuza down in 27th, the coordinator in that other Ninja Sheep Racing Bentley. Down in 27th, that very nice livery car. We'll see what he can do in his Bentley. Callie all the way down in 28th. That Lexus apparently not working for him at all in qualifying. But we've seen him have great race pace, so we expect to see him run through the field. Another guy who has good race pace is Rhea Auby. Auby down in 29th after getting 4th place last race, so I expect to see the Turkish driver up farther ahead. Nuri Kanjaglu down in 30th. Once again, another driver displaced. A lot of drivers displaced this race. Alan Rake in 31st in his Ferrari. 32nd is Shooter, who has a drive-through, and rounding out the grid is Mario Marin. So that is our grid for today, folks. We'll go back up towards the front now. The drivers are currently going into Inway. They have formed up. They're being told by the game, you know, you got to hold your position now. And now there is an issue where sometimes drivers get drive-throughs or some weird penalties because of that final corner. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. And there is a chance that the race could get restarted. It's highly unlikely, but, you know, got to keep it in our back pockets nonetheless now. As the drivers go, green is underway. We're go, go, go. And here we go. We are underway. And Foch is laughing. I do apologize for that, but let's focus back on the action at track now. Latz and Hardenberg side by side going through the kink and now into Crawthorne, a pretty heavy braking zone. Though there's a little bit of a spin in the background. Let's go to the helicam. We got, oh, it looks like Andrade is round. Is that Bauer off the track as well? Yes, that is Bauer off as well. So Andrade and Bauer all the way towards the back of the order. So that is not what we want to see. There was some contact through turn one. Not sure who caused that. But now back towards the front, Latz is still holding to the lead. Onto the lead right now. Behind him is Hardenberg, and third place is right here. So that is your top three. Currently sitting in fourth, that is, I believe that is Adam Dubiel, followed up by Lee Pitschich, and then followed by Connor Wright. So that is your top six right now as the timing board fixes itself out. Yes, so is Mateusz Kazicek in the background. He is currently off in Sector 1. Him and the 99 car are off. Let's go ahead and look at that. Simon Ramsayer was into the wall, you know, before the sun set. So not sure what happened to Ramsayer there, but him and Mateusz Kazicek towards the back of the order. Frank Pedrozzini also down the order as well. I do apologize for mispronouncing Samir Foch. I will work on my pronunciations. I am definitely not the best at it, but I will try to improve that, so I do apologize. But back towards the front now. Hardenberg's under a lot of pressure from right here right now. The two of them trying to keep with Latz, who was able to hold on to the lead through turn 1 now. Hard to tell if we'll see a lot of overtakes this race, as this track is very windy. But now, as you can see, there's Ole Pitchich into the pits to serve his stop-go 30-second time penalty, so I'll give a bunch of drivers free positions. Chen, meanwhile, he's up to P8. We saw him next to Florian Bauer in 15th. He's gained 8 positions on that opening lap there. So he benefited greatly from that early carnage. Not sure if he was to blame for any of it, but he is currently up in the 7th. Chinese driver having an explosive start. Behind him, Dejan Milicic and Jay Fang, the two McLarens battling it out for 8th position, though there's a little bit of a gap between them, as you can see in the background, Nico Ohl and Richie B. Jan Climbs, though, we saw him up in 6th starting. He's down at 12, so he had a shocker of a start. Not sure what happened into turn 1 there, but there's a lot of action now. Climbs is under pressure from Paweł Jarzykowski now. They're going to go side by side into sunset. Jarzykowski trying to go around the outside, but Climbs has the inside line and holds on to the position for now, going into Clubhouse. So now Jarzykowski's going to be under pressure from, it looks like, Andy Vanderbel. Can Vanderbel make the move here as they go through the S's? Not exactly a good place to make an overtake. Now he's going to fall back a little bit more, riding on board with him now. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move at the time. So that is how the order is. Oh, but Jarzykowski goes way too deep into Luke Hopp now. He's going to be under pressure from Vandervelde on the exit, but Vandervelde doesn't get a good enough exit. He's just going to tuck in behind the Ferrari. Looks like the Ferrari just got a mega launch, even though he went too deep there. So very interesting to see now. That is what is happening at the moment with Vanderbilt. It's kind of stuck behind Jarzykowski, Dilichia in the background as well, as they all battle out for what will be P12 with Jan Climbs at the front. But back towards the front now as we end lap 2. Dennis Latz still leading the way. Hardenberg in P2, Rayer P3, and Dubiel in tow P4. These guys all within a second of each other. All the way back to Grieger Stangrit, who's up to P6. Didn't see him. Actually, I totally missed his start, but he got a mega start as well. So not sure how Stangrit and Chen got such good starts, but they're up to 6th and 7th now, and it's clearly penalty free. They are flying, as Dejan Milicic in the background in PA is kind of holding up a train. You can see, 2.2 seconds behind Chen. Jay Fang kind of holding up Ole in the background. Ole gets a pretty good run out of Barbecue, but let's see if that Bentley can make a move on that McLaren. McLaren's a very good all-around car, and it doesn't look like Ole is going to have what it takes to get through right now, and especially in the Clubhouse. Not really much of an overtaking zone. I think the main overtaking zones is there's Cowley going very slow. He had to come to the pits early on up ahead, so these drivers will already be experiencing lapped traffic. So that is very unfortunate to see. In the pits now, take a look at the guys who are in the pits. Florian Bauer is still in the pits. He has a ton of damage on the front of that Mercedes, excuse me. Alex Torregrossa leaving the pits now. He just left it. Ray Aubie, another car with massive amounts of damage. So a lot of guys pitting early on due to early race collisions. So that's unfortunate to see. But up towards the front now, Latz is almost gapped Hardenberg by a second. But those 4 Ferraris up towards the front and 5 in the top 6. The Ferrari's definitely looking like the fastest car around here right now. Wright's doing the best he can in that Aston Martin, but the Ferraris, especially that top 4 right now, they're really cooking in these early stages of the race. But lap traffic will be a problem for about the entirety of this race because of that early collision. You see already there's a lap car in front of Latz. Not sure who that is exactly. That is the number 8 car, and that is Samir Foch, I believe, right? Foch? All right, I'm gonna try to nail that. All right. But Samir currently running in at 26 now. I'm not sure if he's on the lead lap. I don't believe so. All right, no, I think he is. I think he's one of the last cars on the lead lap. But he's got to be careful. He's gonna really need to get a move on because he's got the race leaders behind him, and he'll be showing the blue flags, and we'll probably have to get out of the way as he is on a completely different strategy now, with him already coming into the pits. So Latz running a little wide there. It's a lot of sparks getting kicked up by several drivers. Looks like we're seeing different lines coming out of Sunset as we get a car off in Barbecue. That is the number 35 car of Paweł Jarzykowski. One car we mentioned who is having a good, and it looks like he's just straight up retired. So Jarzykowski, he was running 16th. He went into the wall out of Barbecue, and he just decided, nope, that's enough. I'm done for today. He has retired from the Grand Prix, so we have lost a driver already. So that's unfortunate to see. I want to switch to him to see what happened, but his name had already was unclickable, so that means that he has retired from the session. Still in the pits, though, is the 120 car of, not still in the pits, sorry, Nuri Conjuglu has just come into the pits. Not sure if that was a planned pit stop, but he's going to still come out in clean air right now. So we'll see what Conjuglu can do. He's got Andrade ahead of him. Andrade was able to recover pretty nicely, it looks like, after taking that early pit stop, but he's still got a lot of work cut out for him if he wants to make his way through the field. But he's got a lot of clean air, so I think Andrade will be okay. He's got a lapped car of Alex Torregrossa up ahead. Now up towards the front now. Ol did make the move. That was a good eye there. He made the move on Fang in the background. That's a very slow Aston Martin. Is that Connor Wright or is that a lapped car? I think that's a lapped car. That's not right. Looks like Connor Wright's car, but that is a lapped Aston Martin getting out of the way. Fang down to P11. Can Richie B pressure Fang into turn one? Richie B is going to go to the right. Fang's going to go defensive. Who's going to have the position? Fang goes very defensive. Richie trying to go for the switchback, but Fang covers off the apex of the corner. Fang holds on to P10. Richie kind of stuck there in P11, but then climbs and all the cars he had behind him now caught up to that group of cars. So now we got a nice little trade now for 10th position, as Alan Rake is now in 15. So I think we lost another car in this queue. Pretty sure there was a couple more cars in that queue as well. Not really doing a good job here. Let's keep an eye on who's where today. I do apologize for that, folks. A lot of stuff going on. I think the nighttime is throwing me off a little bit. But now back up towards the front. You know, everyone's kind of holding position. Latz has got a second to Hardenberg. Right here, right on his tail, and then Adam Dubiel, it says he's a second behind, but it looks like he's a little closer to right here than 1 second at this stage. Connor Wright kind of keeping with them as well, and then Grigo Stangrit in 6. Grigo Stangrit's got Chen for very close company in the background, now 5/10 behind in that Lamborghini. I think you see James Calley, the laps car behind him, who was running down the order, giving a little bit of a buffer to Dejan Militic. Although in P9, Fang P10, and Richie B P11. So I think our closest battle right now is Richie B. Still pressuring Fang now for 10th position. Fang really holding up Richie in these early stages of the race. Now, oh, as someone's into the pits, that is Nico Ol. What happened there? He just straight up clattered into the wall coming out of Cheetah and just decided, all right, I'm going to come into the pits real fast. Definitely an unscheduled pit stop as he took a decent amount of damage there, and so he's going to drop down the order now. Fang, though, meanwhile, got a very good run out of Ingwe. It does not look like Richie B will be able to contest him into Crawthorne this time around, though Richie's going to break a lot later, try to go around the outside again, but that line is really not working as Fang holds on to what is now 9th position. So, and up towards the front now, Hardenberg got passed by Ray here, so not sure what happened there. Let's go ahead, let's run the replay. Let's see how Hardenberg got overtaken by Ray here, if it shows it to us. Looks like that's not even going to show us. Not sure what happened there. As you can see, Adam Dubiel, Rayer's way up the road. So it looks like Hardenberg must have made a mistake there and dropped down the order. So I thought we could see it by 30 seconds, but apparently not. So I do apologize now as the replay runs through. But Hardenberg down to P3. Right now, Adam Dubiel stuck in P4 right here, up to P2. So as for any other position changes, nothing really going at the moment by the looks of it. Yeah, everyone holding stationary. Let's keep an eye on the battle with Richie B, though, and Jay Fang. It's probably giving us the most action. Actually, Connor Wright is on the rear bumper of Adam Dubiel right now. As you can see it as the camera adjusts. Hardenberg looking a little slow all of a sudden. He must have made a pretty big mistake because right here is 2.6 seconds ahead of Hardenberg, who's really dropped off the back. And it looks like Dubiel got slowed up a bit because Wright was able to close up on Dubiel. And now Grigo Stangrit is a lot closer than 2.2 seconds. Oh, Dubiel is round. Dubiel is round in Ingwe. And oh, there Chen makes contact, and so does James Cowley. So Dubiel, who's having such a good race, lost the rear end in Ingwe, and Dubiel is going to drop outside of the top 10 and feed back in by what looks like pretty far down behind in P15, I think. No, he'll stay in P14 for now in front of Paulo Lima. Dubiel, though, with a catastrophic spin there, dropping him down the order. Chen taking a little bit of damage there. You can see Chen up there's a little bit of an update there, but Jay Fang was under pressure. I don't know why the cams are being a little weird here. There, Richie B, you can see, is in 9th, climbs in 10th. No other big losers out of the collision. Chen, we did see get involved in that contact there, and along with the lapped car of James Cowley. So Cowley's day goes from bad to worse, and Chen still holding on, though, to P6. He dropped off of Stangrit a little bit, but Chen's currently sitting at P6, Stangrit up to P5. So DeBeal kind of just looked like he just lost the rear end there. We won't go to the replay, so it's a little too far back now, but we could actually check the replay if you do think right tack DeBeal's rear. We didn't really get a good camera view. These cameras seem to be a little slow on the updating. That is very possible as well. We'll maybe take a look at it later on as the race goes on. But speaking of the race at the moment, the race for the lead is on right here, is closing in on Latz. He's only 9/10 behind. And on the last lap, he closed in by 3/10. So right here, really showing why he's the championship leader right now, putting on a clinic. His front lights are really bumping, like really blinking right now when he ever goes over bumps. So not sure if he's got any kind of damage by the looks of it. He might. So he's definitely not intentionally flashing Latz, which makes no sense. But Latz now, that lap was 4/10 slower than right here. As Jay Fang goes into the pits, the Chinese driver making an early pit stop. Again, not sure what the exact ideal pit strategy is, but he's decided that now is the time to come into the pits. Having DeBeal also into the pits, but that's not surprising at all. So that gives Richie P8 as Fang drops down the order. But looking back at Ray here, his lights are moving every time he goes over bumps. So yeah, that's not normal to see. You know, he's just on the back of Latz now for the most part. Watch here, as he goes over the bumps, see if his lights flicker again. They do not there, so maybe that was a button click, but we'll keep an eye on his Ferrari as well. He might have a little bit of front damage. It would explain why Hardenberg falled off so much. Hardenberg looking really slow. He definitely looks like he has some kind of damage. He's 5.2 off, and on that last lap, he was 2 seconds slower than right here and Latz. And a lot of the cars behind, like, say, Chen, Dejan Milicic, Richie B, all of them lapping faster than Hardenberg at the moment. So we're not sure what's going on with Hardenberg's Ferrari, but right now, his race pace is horrible, so he might come in for an early pit stop if he does, in fact, have damage. So, but there are some other guys in the pits right now. You got the front straight. You know, you can see DeBeal leaving the pits. He will stay on the lead lap for now. But a lot of action going on in the early stages of this race. Latz still leading, though. 7 laps in. Going to be 8 laps in very soon. Latz putting on a very good show so far for us today up at the front. You know, it's nice to see him up to the front. Gillian Hardenberg is into the pits, so he must have some kind of damage. That would explain his lack of pace as his Ferrari's into the pits right now. So we'll keep an eye on where he comes out in respect to, say, Jay Fang and Nico Ull. Ull, who is up now a position. Keeps showing Sir Williams on my graphic, but I know Sir Williams for a fact is not in this race right now. All in 19th. You can see Alex Torregrossa behind him. There is Fang. Fang's actually under a lot of pressure from Marlon Andrade. So Andrade making a very good recovery so far. We know Ull had a pit for damage. I think Fang might have had a little bit of damage as well. Would explain why he's behind Ull now. Outside, I don't believe that was just off of race pace, but Andrade here trying to pressure Fang. This is for 20th. These are the first guys who have already made their pit stop, so they can go to the end of the race, assuming they have the tires to do so, which I do expect them to last. But now up towards the front, Mario Marin and Andy Vanderbilt also into the pits as well. So several drivers, a lot of drivers actually taking early pit stops, so that might be the strategy here. Now, pit early, get it out of the way, and then just go to the end of the race. You can see Vanderbilt's McLaren is stopped there. He might get overtaken by the likes of Ull, Fang, and Andrade, DeBeal, and possibly as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as it develops, since I do not know the ideal tire strategy. But looking now at Garrigo Stanger, he's once again under a lot of pressure from Chen. So even though Chen took that lick from the side of Adam DeBeal's car, Chen's still looking very quick. He's on the back of Stangert now, and Stangert's only 2 seconds off of Wright, who is 7.1 off of the leading pair. So right here, and Latz really starting to pull away. Stangert looking very quick in the Ferrari, considering he's got Chen for company. Dejan Milicic is 3 seconds behind Chen, so they're not really closing up on the pair ahead. So gaps are being formed as it's very clear who's got the race pace and who does not. The number 99 car still in the pits. That's Simon Ramsayer. He's just staying in the pits. Another thing to know is Florian Bauer has also retired from the race. So apparently I gave him the commentator's curse, so I do apologize for that. But Bauer's season has been going downhill for a while now, so that is a very unfortunate to see have happened to him. But now right here, all over the back of Dennis Latz now. He's under 4/10. Not sure where else he can overtake outside of Crawthorne, as that's kind of his main overtaking spot. And Latz is still looking very quick. He did a 142.2 last lap, while Ray here did a 141.9. So Ray here, who is the quickest car on track right now, he's got to be careful because he's stuck behind Latz. And we're not sure where right here is faster, which it looks like this part of the track, to be honest. Because look how much right here just gained on latch through the S's. Now can right here make the move into Lucop? No, not this time. He's all over the rear end of Latz, really pushing Latz around. I think, okay, that is an intentional flash. I think he's trying to tell Latz, hey, let me drag you along. But Latz doesn't want any of it. I think Latz is going to battle this out in his Ferrari. He wants this race win. Now, these guys battled out a lot at Monza, and we've seen them on track together here and there, but we've not really seen them battle for the lead at all this season. But now it's going to be a one-on-one battle for the lead. The two drivers going to go at it right now. Latz starting from pole right here in third, but right here is clearly looking faster this stage of the race. Now as we go down the front straight, let's look at the Helicam. Is right here going to get enough slipstream to really catch up to Latz here? It doesn't look like it. We'll see how brave right here's on the brakes, so see how much he gains as they go through Crawthorne now. He gains a little bit, but doesn't get as much as I expected now because Latz gets a good run out of there. See a little bit dirtier there right here, getting a little bit of squirmy on exit. You know, right here is looking like he's got running more downforce. He's able to brake later, but it's looking like Latz is getting better exits, and that might be what keeps Latz ahead at this time. Yeah, because you look at it right now, like, there's kind of a similar gap in there. Right here gains all back up. Gains all the time he lost. Going through, like, you know, the corners. You go through Sunset and now here through Clubhouse. He gains time on it once again, but now look on the exit, and Latz gets a little bit better of an exit. Right here, taking a little bit of a different line, though, using more of the curb. Now as we go through the S's, let's see. Right here gets a better run, but then Latz kind of, you know, looking a little faster in a straight line, so that looks like the difference between the two Ferraris and their setups right now in this battle for the race lead. As you see that right here, can take a much tighter line through the cop. He's able to get right on the back of Latz, but Latz's lack of downforce is looking like, again, it's just what's keeping it happens. Ray's going to go to the right-hand side. He's going to throw a dummy into the crocodiles, so I guess you could try to make an overtake there, but wouldn't be an ideal spot. Right here goes very wide on exit, though. He's still all over the rear end of Latz, though. Right here trying to find a way around Latz for the race lead. The two Germans going at it, though. 1-2 right now. Right here a lot closer this time around. Can he get the run he needs on Latz going into Crawthorne? He's very close. He can see all of that rear diffuser, rear end of that Ferrari. He's going to go to the inside, but he doesn't have enough straight line speed to really make the move on Latz. He just gets very good cornering. So it looks like Rayer's going to have to make the move out of the corner and try to, you know, he's got to get somehow unsettle Latz here, because as of right now, Rayer is just very quick in the corners, but he doesn't have the straight line speed. You can see, look, Latz is pulling away there. So it's very clear who's got the faster setup in a straight line, and that's going to be what's key to overtaking in GT3s. Meanwhile, look down the order. Hardenberg did come out ahead of Nico Ull. He's actually 13.5 seconds up, so Hardenberg was able to repair whatever he needed to do. And he's got a huge gap to the guys who have had to repair their damage. So Andrade has also fallen off the back of Fang. We were hoping we could see a little bit of battling there, but it looks like we will not. DeBeal, another guy who was dropped down the order, looks like he was able to clear Mario Marin recently. No, the two of them are battling now through the crocodiles, but DeBeal has the position. Marin looking a little slow there. He's got Vandervelde for company in the background. We'll see if Marin can hold on in the background. Vandervelde taking a much wider line at Marin. A little bit of a tighter line. Gets really close to DeBeal in the braking zone now. He's got a three-way battle here for 20th position. Let's take a look from the Helicam. Yeah, there's not too much separating them. Question is, who has the straight line speed going into Crawthorne? Doesn't look like anyone's really gaining, so these guys are running very similar amounts of downforce. You know, slipstream not really benefiting anyone here today so far. So that's how it looks like so far. Back up towards the front right here. Is falling off a little bit of Latz. I guess kind of getting fed up being stuck behind him as Dejan Milicic in the background is into the pits now as they're beyond the 20-minute mark. And Milicic into the pits, losing P6, but we'll have to see where he comes out. Now Hardenberg he's the reference because Hardenberg came in for that early pit stop. Hardenberg now coming out of the cop. Now, so Milicic ideally would come out behind Hardenberg, but I think he should be well ahead of Nico Ull as well. So that'll be key. We'll have to keep an eye on where he comes out of the pits. So Yeah, it is. It is annoying to see people not finding their brakes after spinning. We did see that actually happen to Ray here in his last qualifying attempt. Someone spun out in front of him, and the guy spinning didn't find the brakes, came back onto the track, and blocked the apex for Ray here. So very unfortunate to see, Florian. But hopefully we see you back next week. I mean, you've had a really rough few races, so do apologize for that happening to you. So, because we always look forward to watching you race. Now, and we'd love to see you up battling towards the front with these two like we saw at Monza. But right now it is just the two of them. And Ray here has closed in on Latz this time around. But the question is, who will be the first to bite and take the pits? Like, once again, a lot of these guys are pitted early. You know, only 13 guys haven't pitted. This pit just had his drive-through. That's why he's towards the back. Well, you have the stop-go. Then Shooter and Irish had their drive-throughs. So, and now Ray here, once again, on the rear end of Latz, but not really close enough. As you can see, Nuri Conjuglu and another lap car up ahead of the leading pair. So, lap traffic, if these guys continue to stay out, lap traffic will be a problem as Ray here throws another dummy. So, and I did not catch the situation after turn 2. We did see a few cars into the wall, but I did not see that one. I'm sure we'll see that in the stewarding room. That is unfortunate to see. Yeah, well, we might watch that, you know, when we get a little break here, but we'll keep an eye on the leading battle. Grigo, Stangrit, and Pasquale Di Lucia are into the pits, though. Meanwhile, they're pitting from the top 10. Milicic, on the other hand, is 7 seconds behind. Oh, and there goes Ray here, trying to go up the inside of Latz, going into Clubhouse, but Ray here is not able to make it stick. Latz was able to hold on to the lead there. Ray here's really trying to unsettle Latz, but Latz is not falling for any of the dummies that Ray here is throwing. But up ahead, we do have cars battling. Like I said, there was 2 lap cars up ahead. It looks like it was Nuri Conjuglu and Tobias Gerhardt. Both of them 23rd and 24th. Gerhardt has not pitted because he had that drive-through. But their battling may disturb this battle up between the lead pair right now. Running 1 and 2. They might want to pit soon. You know, a lot of guys have come to the pits. Grigo Stangert now is ahead of Hardenberg, who came to the pits earlier on. And Miltic 7.4 off of Hardenberg, and Pasquale Di Lucia only just in front of Nico Ull. So interesting to see how the pit window has affected everyone. As there goes Ray here. Ray here dives into the pits. He registers that there is lap traffic in front of Latz. Now, the question is, will Latz respond to Ray here's pit this lap and try to box next lap? He does see that there's traffic up ahead. And with them battling, it will definitely hurt his race rather than help it. Staying out, Connor Wright also into the pits, pitting from P3. The British drivers had a pretty lonely race so far, as Chen takes over P2 now. But Wright looking to see how he can get on about his race. Richie B up to 3rd now because he has not pitted as well. One of several drivers who has not. Paolo Lima into the pits from P8. Alan Rake now up to P4th. Jan Climbs into the pits, sitting P7. So a bunch of drivers pitting now on lap 14. Shooter and Pitchich have not pitted, but they both had penalties to serve. So that might be why they are still out on track. But they are definitely, once they do come in for their mandatory pit stop, they will drop way farther down the order than what we see them at right now. But let's look at Hardenberg. He was able to clear Stangert, clear him by a margin, so not sure what happened there. We saw Stangert, he was ahead of Hardenberg, and now Hardenberg is really gapped Stangert. So not sure what we saw happen to the Russian. But now Hardenberg coming down the front straight. See Rayer in turn 2. But who's going to come out around Hardenberg? We got the 427 car coming out around him. I don't believe that's Connor Wright. That might be Connor Wright. He just came out of the pits, actually. Take a look. Yes, Connor Wright has come out behind Hardenberg. So Hardenberg was able to make that early pit stop work. And now Wright, rather than having a lonely race, he's going to give Hardenberg some company. Hardenberg goes off the track there and kicks up a little bit of dust. But Hardenberg now in the net 3rd position. And Grigo Stangert now in net Grigo Stangret's now net 5th. He comes out a little farther behind by Dejan Milicic, so it's interesting to see now how the pit window has really shuffled the order. But speaking of the pits, our race leader Dennis Latz into the pits, Chen as well into the pits as well. Will Richie B join the 2 in the pits? No, Richie will not. He will take the lead of the race. Alan Rake stays out as well in his Ferrari, so he is going to be running P2. And Alexander Irish, one of the 3 guys who, one of the guys remaining, but one of 3 that also had to serve a penalty, who has not pitted yet, still up towards the front. So Several pit stops still needing to be served. But it's interesting now. All eyes will be on Tom Ray here now, coming through Cheetah and into Ingwe already. I don't even think Latz is moving in the pits right now. Now there's Latz. He's moving, but it looks like Ray here is going to get a massive undercut on him. Let's go on board with Ray here. There's Latz coming out of the pits. Latz, I don't think he'll be up to speed in time. The two of them might go side by side into turn 2, into Crawthorne. Yeah, they're going to be side by side, but Ray here is going to be a little farther ahead. He's going to go for the inside line, leaves Latz the space, but Ray here with his tires up to temp is able to make the outside line work, and Ray here up into the lead of what will be the lead of the race ahead of Latz. In the background is Shooter, who has not pitted. Latz flashing right here, I guess, and the two of them, you know, like, all right, he's returning the favor from when right here is flashing, but right here making the undercut work now. He is taking the lead with 32 minutes left to go. Chen, meanwhile, let's see where he comes out. So he's coming out, it looks like, ahead of Grigo Stangrit, but he's a little bit off of Connor Wright and Hardenberg. So Chen running in now what is net P5. So Chinese driver having a fantastic race, along with Grigo Stangrit and Dejan Milicic. Three of them having great races so far, but there's still plenty of time left over. Nico Ohl, meanwhile, he may have retired. Nico Ohl has retired from the Grand Prix. Not sure what happened to him, but Ohl just decided to retire as well. He was our third retirement of the day. He joined Paolo Jarzakowski and Florian Bauer in the list of retirements. So we are down to 30 drivers. Ramsayer has been sitting in the pits, so you could argue 29, as he is 12 laps down, hasn't been out on track. There was a huge wreck in turn 2, which might be the issue of it here now. So we look at Alan Reich running P2. Irish is into the pits along with Shooter. Richie B stays out for yet another lap. He's going to be losing time now to Stan, Grit, Milicic, Fang, all guys he was running around. Well, Fang maybe not as much, but Milicic and Stan Grit he's going to be losing time to by staying out. So we'll have to see what the Dutch driver can do. But our battle for the net lead of Ray here and Latz is not over. 31 minutes left. Latz is just going to keep company, or keep Ray here, you know, in touch, you know, keep him company. And so the question is now, will he just wait for a late race move? We know Ray here's got the better cornering, but Latz has the better straight line speed. So keep an eye on these two as they get about it. But as of right now, because Cartwright is running what will be P4, P6 currently, Right here cannot wrap up the championship this race, but it opens up the door for it to be finished up next week. So, Ray just needs to keep it on track, and the championship stays alive. But it's not helped with the fact that Ray here is running P3 and up the road from him. But we do got a battle going on currently for what is 7th position as Richie is into the pits now. The Dutch driver serving his one mandatory pit stop, leaving Alan Rake as the only one who hasn't served his pit yet. But Chenna has Stangrit and Milicic not too far behind now as we take a look at a very weird camera angle. And there you can see the side pod of that 65 Lamborghini. You can see the Ferrari and the McLaren in the background there. The three drivers not too far apart, so you could argue that the battle for what is 7th place right now, and will be 6 after Richie leaves the pits, is on. So plenty of close action on track. Pasquale Di Lucia, meanwhile, is close to Jay Fang. The two of them actually running very similar colored cars, though they are in different manufactured cars. You know, it's a similar lighter blue kind of concept. See a lot of dirt on the side of Di Lucia's car, so he must have taken a few trips in the grass already. I don't believe that is just from rubbing and bumping and stuff. But Andrade, meanwhile, up to P12. You know, in the background, so the Brazilian who we saw off in turn 1 with Florian Bauer now. Andrade, once again, having a good recovery. Meanwhile, up the road, Richie B is leaving the pits now. He's going to be pretty far behind Milicic, actually, because Milicic, you know, see there he is coming out of Crawthorne and through the Juke sweep. Richie B really far behind from him. He's ahead of Fang, but Richie B kind of in no man's land. So by staying out longer, it looks like it's actually hurt his race. And he's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to what will be the top 8. Or, sorry, what will be the top 7, excuse me. He will run 8th once Alan Rake pits. Let's take a look at the battle up front. It looks like right here's pulled away a little bit from Latz, visually. But that's to be expected because it looks like the middle sector of the race, or the lap, sorry, is where right here's really pulling away, and then Latz kind of closes back up at the end of the third and start of the first sector where it's more straight line speed. which, again, that kind of makes sense with the setup things we're seeing right now. But meanwhile, Connor right behind, so we got a battle for first, we got a battle for what will be third. So we'll just assume that Rake has to pit, and we'll just call it by what it is after he pits. But the battle for what will be third between Wright and Hardenberg is on. Wright is now right behind Hardenberg, and he's looking to make the move. He's all over his rear end, going through Cheetah, now into Ingwe. Can the British driver make a move for what will be the final podium spot on the Dutch driver ahead? Let's see what kind of straight line speed. You can see the Ferrari gets a very good launch out of Ingwe, and the Aston Martin's not known for its straight line speed. Hardenberg going defensive, though, into Crawthorne. Wright not really getting many overspeed. Hardenberg moves very late to defend. Wright diving up the inside. Can Wright have the position? They're side by side coming out of Crawthorne, and Hardenberg goes too deep on exit and down to the Jukse sweep. Wright has taken the position, and he's up to P4. Currently is around and ahead of Hardenberg. So Hardenberg, by going just a little deep there, and he ran off the road, it compromised him just enough. Wright left him the space, but Hardenberg made the mistake there and now has fallen back to P5. In the background now, Di Lucia. You can see he's still behind Feng. Hasn't really closed up enough. Andrade kind of sticking with these two up ahead. Nothing really gaining right here. Latz, meanwhile, up at the front, has fallen off a little bit of right here. The previous lap right here did a 141.358. Latz did a 141.43. So not much separating them, but that little bit each lap could be what makes or breaks his race. So again, we'll keep an eye on this battle for the lead. It's pretty close for GT3 standards, but going wide, coming out of the Crocodiles is not what you want to have happen. As I'm sure Latz is going to be close to a second now behind, as he lost the rear end a little bit with a little bit of snap of oversteer. As Hardenberg now has also fallen off of Wright by a little bit now, as Alan Rake is into the pits now. He's the last driver serving his mandatory pit stop. He's looking to have like a sprint to the end on lower fuel and fresh tires, so maybe we'll see him give us a little bit of action. About the top four are guys who are used to running up towards the front, so it's good to see these drivers showing off their success. Meanwhile, Dejan Militic shows P5. Chen is into the pits. Not sure why. He's going to drop way down the order there. Let's see if we can replay it by like 10 seconds, or is it just going to show us a replay of the pits? Nah, it's just showing us a replay of the pits. That is just kind of useless. I thought something had happened. There was a recent incident because it looked like he kind of teleported to the pits, but that's unfortunate to see the Chinese drivers driving so well in the points and everything, but now he's into the pits, and his day has gone upside down. Dejan Militic, meanwhile, up to P5, though. So that's very good news for the German driver. So speaking of nationalities, we've got German, British, Dutch, German. That's your top 5. 6th place, we got Russian. 7th place, another Dutch driver. 8th place, Chinese. And 9th place is Irish. And 10th place, Brazilian. So a lot of nationalities represented in our top 10 right now. Pretty cool. And Alan Rake, who stayed out really long. You know, wasn't sure where he was going to come out, but he came out in P11. He started towards the back. He's running P11 right behind Andrade, and he's on a fresh set of tires. So if Ray can get a move on, he might be able to clear Andrade to get up to Di Lucia and Feng, because we've seen the Ferraris drive really quick around here. So keep an eye on him. He's really gaining on Andrade right now as he goes through Lucap and now into Mineshaft. That Ferrari is looking very quick for him today. Now, can he make a move actually into the Crocodiles? Doesn't look like it. It looks like he got a really good run from the other camera angle. But as we go on board with him now, Rake's kind of just nestled in behind Andrade. Oh, and Andrade goes too deep, and then Rake's going to dive up the inside, and he's going to have the position. Not sure if that was intentional by Andrade or not. I know Andrade is a very smart driver, so he might have just decided, hey, I'm going to let Rake through. But, ooh, looks like there's a little bit of desync there. Rake kind of got, like, pushed off the road, though. Andrade didn't make any contact there, and it looks like he kind of got shunted. As Rake goes deep, and Andrade's ahead once again. Two of them switching positions, and Grigo Stangritz into the pits. He's got a lot of damage to his Ferrari. Not sure what happened to him, but that promotes Richie B and Jay Feng. I'm not sure what happened exactly to him there, and it's not worth hitting the replay button. We'll have to take a look at it after the race as we look at the battle for Rake and Andrade, which is now the battle for P9. So both Stangert and Chen, two drivers who were in the championship. Chen was 33rd, Stangert was 39th. Barely any points to their name. We're on track for their best finishes of their season, possibly their AOR careers. And all of that has been turned on its head by whatever reason they decided to pit. Is now Chen is down 20 seconds, and Sangrit's going to drop down more. We'll keep an eye on Rake here, though. He's really pressuring him. Meanwhile, speaking of pressure, Latz is all over the rear end of Ray here. Close back up. Not sure if Ray here made a mistake that last lap. Must have, because he was half a second slower than Latz on the previous lap. So Latz really keeping the pressure on Ray here. The two of them 12.6 seconds ahead of Wright. So as long as they keep their races clean, it's basically a 1-2 for them. Question is, what's going to be the order? I'll have to wait and see. Taking a sip of my now cold coffee. Not exactly what I wanted, but that's okay. I'm sure what we want to see is Latz try to make a move on Ray here. It'd be nice to see some more battling at the front. They're very close together. But it looks like Latz's turn now to pressure Ray here. And not sure why Ray here dropped off a little bit on that previous lap. But on the last lap, he was still a tenth slower than Latz. So Latz is really starting to turn up the engine and turn on the pace. Doing a 141.7 compared to the 0.8 that Ray here did. Interestingly enough, Hardenberg on the previous lap did a 141.8 as well. So he's matching that leading pair. Wright only slightly slower than them. So these guys running third and fourth are not off the pace. Just kind of seem like the early stages of the race, they just lost touch with them. And between pitting early and whatnot, it's going to drop them off the back a little bit. Meanwhile, Rake has cleared Andrade. That was for P9, like we mentioned prior. Question is, can Rank keep it on track now and run down De La Chia, who's 3-point-some seconds up the road, 3.6 now as the Delta updates. Meanwhile, Irish is keeping Decusa in check, but Climbs made the move on Irish, so we got a three-way battle here for P12. And it's a very close proximity. You got the Bentley, Porsche, and BMW. Climbs trying to go up the inside of what is Clubhouse, but Climbs not able to make a move there. Was not close enough this time around. That's going to open up the outside line for Irish, but Irish is going to back out of it as you go into the S's. Can't really make an overtake there, as that part of the track is a little too quick to go around the outside. But now, Irish keeping the pressure on Climbs. Climbs doesn't really have that much straight line speed because that Porsche is notoriously slow, and he's just insanely fast when accelerating. As you can see there, Climbs got a good run. It's got very good turning ability. But the Porsche right now, his day's not gone too well. He did pit early, dropped down the order after the start. We saw him starting in 6th, dropped down to 12th after the first sector. So, but now he's giving Decusa some trouble. Unfortunately, this is a game. This is Assetto Corsa Competizione, but you know it looks very realistic, and like how the cars are set up, the developers have done a fantastic job between laser stand tracks and how they have got the cars set up to real life. So yes, you can hardly tell the difference. But now he's got a three-way battle here for P12. Climbs got a pretty good run out of Ingwe, but he doesn't have the straight line speed to pressure Decusa. Irish, meanwhile, has pretty good straight line speed. Looks to go to the inside of Crawthorne, but it's nothing doing on Climbs this time around. Up towards the front, Latz has fallen off a little bit on right here, but not much giving at the moment. Meanwhile, the other battle we were looking at was Rake trying to close in on De La Chia and Fang. De La Chia and Fang kind of holding position. Nothing going there either, so I think our best bet, it'll just keep an eye on Decusa, Climbs, and Irish. This three-way battle for P12. They're all running really close. Irish going everywhere. Climbs taking a little bit tighter line to some of these corners. Look at Clubhouse. Let's actually go right on board with Climbs. He's taking some pretty tight lines as he's got the oversteer for it, but now Decusa getting very unsettled in the S's. It's going to give Climbs a good chance for a good run. Can he break later into Le Cop? Decusa going somewhat defensive. Decusa going very defensive now. Climbs all on the rear bumper of that Bentley. But Decusa placed his car very well, and he will keep the position for now. But you can see him struggling a little bit there, and that will open up the door for Climbs and Irish if he continues to struggle. Not sure how far back Dubiel is. Dubiel's only 5.8 behind. We saw Dubiel start at the front. He had a lot of early race pace. So if these guys battle hard enough, Dubiel could join the fight, but that is a tall order, as 5.8 seconds is a pretty large gap. We have a car off the track. That's the number 3 car, Frank Pedrozzini, off the track at the start of Sector 2. We haven't really talked about him much, unfortunately, today, as he is off the track But he has gotten back going down the order. Is kind of down there with Cali. But now Climbs under a lot of pressure from Irish. Climbs going to go really defensive. Irish going to switch to the right-hand side of the track. Who's going to break later? Get a little weird camera angle. Climbs going to go very deep. It's going to push Irish wide. He's going to have to back out of it there, getting a little naughty there. And Climbs holds on to P13. Irish back in P14. That gives Dakuza a little bit of a buffer going through out of turn 2, but the two of them, of Climbs and Irish, gaining right back up on Dakuza. So it looks like the two of them kind of just stuck behind the Bentley. Dakuza just has solid enough pace that he can just stay ahead. So pretty crazy stuff at the moment. Meanwhile, Andrade is not let up on the battle with Rake. Earlier on, remember, it looked like he kind of let Rake through, then Rake made the mistake, and then Andrade got through, and then Rake got back ahead. Well, Rake's kind of fallen off a little bit of Di Lucia up ahead, who, by the way, is starting to pressure Fang now, finally, as Rake starts to gain in on them as well. But Lima is also 3.5 behind. He's not really up in contention right now. I thought he was for a second there. But Andrade dropping off the back a bit. He was a half-second behind. Not sure what just happened through the middle sector there, but Andrade losing a little bit of pace there through the middle sector. But you can see him gaining a lot in the third sector now. He's going to come across the line, I think, closer than 1 second to Alan Rake. So that 650S, you know, hats off for him for driving, but that 650S does not look like it likes that middle sector at all. Yeah, 0.6 across the line. So Andrade has made that car horrible in the middle sector, but in the first and third sectors, he's looking very quick. So meanwhile, that battle we were looking at, there is Climbs. Not close enough into Crawthorne right now to make the move on to Dakuza. This three-way battle, but Dakuza looking very slow. Climbs gets a very good exit. He's all on the rear bumper now of Dakuza. Going through the Jukesei sweep. Can he make a move into Barbecue? No, he cannot. Climbs losing the rear end. Oh, he gets a huge snap over steer. That's going to let Alexander Irish through as the BMW gains position. Climbs completely losing the rear end there as soon as we went on board with him. But it looks like the Czech driver cannot seem to make the overtake. That Porsche does not want to overtake any cars right now, and it's really hurting him with 16.5 minutes to go. So you see Dubiel in the background there with lapped car behind. So meanwhile, farther down the order, Chen all over the rear end of Neri Conjuglu coming out of Barbecue. And now going into Sunset. They're going to go side by side. Chen going to try to go around the outside in Sunset. And Chen is going to, looks like he's going to have the move. Neri's still battling, though, on what was the inside line. But now the outside line of Clubhouse are going to go side by side through Clubhouse. This is only the battle for 19th. They're still side by side going into the S's. Who's going to yield? It looks like Neri's going to come out ahead, actually, going around the outside for the first part of the S's. Chen all over the rear end, though, of the Aston Martin. He's going to switch to the right-hand side of the track now as they go for the run into Le Cop. Chen's going to brake later. He's still on the outside, though. It's going to allow Neri Conjuglu to get a good exit. Chen going in the grass, getting his tires a little dirty. That's going to open up the inside for Samir Fuch, and Samir is going to have the position on Chen. So Chen, who looked like he was going to steal 19th, is down to 21. Samir up a position. Chen diving it way up the inside into the Crocodiles. He is able to break that much later with his setup. And the Lamborghini taking the position back. This is a fantastic battle for 19th. Chen looking mighty quick right now and out of place, while Neri Conjuglu and Samir looking a little bit slower and looking like they're struggling a little bit. But now down on the run into the kink and then through Crawthorne. Chen gets a very good exit. He's going to go right in tow. Let's go look at the helicam. They're going to go all the way over the pit exit line. Neri Conjuglu not wanting to give up P19. Chen going to go all the way to the right-hand side of the track. Neri still very defensive. Chen going to try to go around the outside, do it the hard way around Crawthorne. He had a nose in there, but through the Jukesei sweep this time around, Neri's going to stay ahead. Chen trying to find every which way around now as they go through Barbecue. Chen all on the rear bumper of the Aston Martin. Now he's going to go for the outside. Nope, now for the inside line of Sunset. He's got a good run. Now he's going back to the left-hand side and to the right. He's moving everywhere. He's moving left, right, center, behind. And Chen's still stuck behind Neri Conjuglu. He has to be very careful, though, because he's got a Ferrari in his rearview mirror. He does not want to let up on him. But Chen still stuck in 20th, providing fantastic racing here. This is not for that many points, but it's for all of the action right now. Neri Conjuglu looking a little slow through the S. You can see Chen, He's just looking quick, like he has to let up a little bit there. Now Neri going defensive into the cop. Chen once again braking very late in that Lamborghini. He's trying to stick it around the outside, puts the throttle down, but then lets up a little bit. Now we saw him be able to brake very late into the Crocodiles. Will he do the same thing this lap now to go through the run through Mineshaft? Neri Kanji going very defensive. Will Chen try to go around the outside? No, Chen's going to look to go for a switchback move. Neri goes very deep. Chen up the inside, and the Chinese driver is through. Now into Cheetah. Chen has the position. He's up to 19th. Neri Kanji down to 20th. So fantastic driving there for 2 laps. Chen really looking mighty fast. Not sure why he pitted that second time. And it really looked like it's unfortunate because now he's stuck in 19th position. Chinese driver moving up the field trying to recover. Meanwhile, check a look at the other battles we were watching at. Up towards the front, Latz, not too far behind on track. He's still right behind Ray here. 13 minutes left to go. But Ray here and Latz, only 4/10 separating them. These two matching each other lap for lap. Tom Ray here, 149.009, or 142, sorry, 0.009. Latz, a 141.979. So 30 thousandths of a second between the two of them. Fantastic stuff from them. Wright, meanwhile, has got Hardenberg behind. So that battle for third place is kind of looking done and dusted. 5th place, Dejan Militic, kind of running by himself right now. A little lonely, not close to Hardenberg, but he has to be careful because he's got Richie B 3.3 behind. So Militic looking to hold position, but at the same time, he's got to, he's got to keep it on track, but at the same time, he's got to keep it quick. As D'Couza's into the pits, not sure why his Bentley's going into the pits. Oh, he's got a lot of front end damage there. Not sure what happened, but D'Couza's going to drop down the order. That'll give a bunch of drivers free positions as he is into the pits to repair that heavily damaged Bentley. Meanwhile, up in 7th now, back to kind of like summarizing the top 10. Fang, I believe he's still ahead of Di Lucia. These two have kind of been separated by the same gap, similar to what Latz and Ray here have been doing, running at about the same pace, under a 10th between the two of them. So Di Lucia keeping the pressure on Fang, but not enough to make the overtake. Rake now in 9th. He's 3.1 behind, so he's gained a half second since the last time we saw on Di Lucia up ahead. But the Algerian driver has not really made much progress. Now, interesting to note, going into this race, Rake had 66 points. Running in 9th position should almost double his point total. Give him 47, so 2/3. That's a ton of points for him. So, but yes, it's a very bad day for the two Bentley drivers. That is for sure. There was a third Bentley on the grid of Ben Blakemore, but we haven't seen him in a few weeks. That's unfortunate. But the two Bentleys have had some very poor days, with one retirement and the other now 2 laps down. Not too many cars actually on the lead lap anymore. The Andrade's in 10th. We know he's on the lead lap. Let's take a look at where Ray here is. So Ray here now, still under all the pressure, going through Clubhouse from Latz. Latz looking a little quicker right now. So let's keep an eye on this continually, of course, because this is the battle for the race victory. But right here's here. You can see the number 8 car is going through the cop. He's got the 120 around him. Both cars are looking like they are lapped down. They got the 65 ahead of them. So Chen, that's Chen, Neri Conjuglu, and Samir Foch. So the 3. So it looks like the top 20 are all on the lead lap, and everyone else behind is off of that. Currently running, we have, looks like there's a gap. For some reason it says Pedrozzini, Pedrozzini is in 23rd. Now it's 22nd for me. That was a little weird. We got 28 cars here. Simon Ramsey, who's been in the pits about all race, so he's basically DNF. Grigor Stangrit, he was running in the top 10, came into the pits, and it looks like he's basically retired. D'Couza repairing that damage. Not sure if he will retire. But right now, 26 to 25 cars in the pits. Rhea Aubie has retired from the session. I don't know if I mentioned that previously. Sir Williams never started the race, though. For some reason, it shows him on my Delta. So, yeah, that is kind of the summary of the race so far. But now I think it's a good time to kind of just like keep an eye on this battle for the race victory. 9.5 minutes to go. I'm sure Latz would love his first victory of the season. Ray here is looking to get his 3rd of the season, and what would be 3 out of the last 4 races. An absolutely superb drive. I mean, we saw him win Bathurst. We saw him win. Well, he won Hungary. He then won Bathurst. He came close at last race at Imola, and now he's leading away once again. And we've seen right here battle towards the front about every race. So fantastic season for him. He did mention it to us previously after last race that he's not looking forward to Spa. So he's trying to wrap up the championship as soon as possible. Currently he's on a tear right now, trying to get his 3rd victory of the season. Meanwhile, Dennis Latz has had a little bit of a different fortune season. We saw him at a really good first race, but he had a lot of DNFs right after that between wrecks or whatever. It was like wheel problems or something. I'm not 100% sure, but handful of DNFs to his name. Looked like he was going to have a good Bathurst until he got wrecked in there. Imola, he was doing very well, but he got spun and then got spun again. Still got some decent points from it. But now Latz looking to have his best result of the season. He has already been on the 2nd step of the podium once, but he wants to be on that top step instead. Now 5 tenths between him now with 8 minutes to go. So let's do a little bit of math here. These last 2 drivers did a 1:42 that lap. So we'll just, for make it easy, we'll say it's a 1:40 lap. So 25, 640. We got about 5 laps to go, if my math is right. We should see the white flag with about 1:20 left to go in the race. So Latz has got that much time to make the move. He won't really have much in the way of extra time, if my math did serve me correctly. So starting to really run out of time here. He's spent this whole second stint on right here's rear bumper, matching his pace. The two of them, once again, a 142.105, 142.120. So you can see who's stronger where. You can see Latz closes in. Now right here's going to pull away a little bit. Well, not really that much actually this time around. Right here's looking a little slower this lap. Usually he pulls away. Will Latz go for the move into the cop? No, but he's all on the rear bumper of the fellow Ferrari. Oh, he gets a much better run out of it, but tries to take a tighter line to offset Ray here. But Ray here had better traction taking the wider line. And he holds on to the lead. But you can see now Latz is starting to look for ways to overtake the number 2 car ahead. It's 2v5 in a 2-way battle for the race victory here. Some fascinating stuff. Nothing to note. After Jakuza pitted, Irish was able to gap climbs by 1.5 seconds. You can see that on the leaderboard. So Irish in 12th climbs up to 13th now. So that is one thing to note. Another thing the leaderboard says is that Cali is running P21s 2 laps down. So it looks like either you're on the lead lap or you're several laps down, not just one. But speaking of lapped cars, let's look at Neri Konjugu and Samir Foch because, you know, looking at the battlefield lead, Foch and Konjugu did a 144.4 last lap. They're only like 7 or 8 seconds up the road from a race leader, so they're lapping 2 seconds lap slower. We come up to this last lap of the race. There is a chance that Latz and Ray here run up those laps of cars. There you can see them. You can barely see them. They're going through Clubhouse as the race leaders coming out of Sunset, and there they are once again. They're going into the S's. This lap traffic may decide the race victory here, because our race leaders are flying. They're going 2 seconds a lap faster, and with 3.5 laps to go, it's looking like they will catch the lap traffic. So this could be huge. You know, if one of them lets Ray here through but accidentally blocks Latz, that could spell tears and curtains for Latz. But also vice versa is true. If, you know, they start battling, then Ray here goes for like a move or something or gets blocked, Latz could have the move on Ray here. So these lap cars got to be very careful, as it could prohibit, you know, the guys ahead. But they are actually battling now. So Neri Konjugu was going side by side for a second. There was Samir Foch. The two of them battling it out for P19. You see the race leaders in the background. Can the Ferrari get the better exit than the Aston? It's looking like he will. So go right on board with the Ferrari. One of 3 Ferraris within like 5 seconds of each other. Actually does not look like he's going to get a good exit, but Neri able to hold on now. 4.5 minutes to go. So in about 3 laps at this point left of the race. These guys, of course, ahead will have to do 4 unless they get lapped. But we'll have to wait and see. Now that last lap, those 2 lapped cars, they did 144.5s. Race leaders are doing 142.1. So that's almost 2.5 seconds last lap around. 2 laps in the sector to go. They're not far up up the road at all. Probably like 3 or 4 seconds now. See just how much closer now. Then they're battling some more. See Nuri Conjugul holding the inside line on Samir. Who's going to come out victorious? It looks like Nuri will hold the lead. But look at this. We got like it's a 4-car train here with the race leaders at the back. This is not good at all. Those 2 lap cars will need to get out of the way. Right here starting to flash his lights. He needs them to get the hell out of the way because, excuse my language, but he needs them to move because Lats is right on his tail. And this could be huge, but no, they're battling. Samir Foch and Eric Conjuglu are battling. They're battling for only P19, and they're getting blue flags now. The race leaders, meanwhile, are hot on their tail, and they're going way quicker, and they're looking to get through now as Samir Foch goes through. Neri Conjuglu goes very deep on purpose. That's Let's through right here and Lats. Right here goes very deep there. Now the question is now, there goes Samir Foch. So they do get out of the way, thankfully. Samir Foch goes on the sausage curb through Cheetah and loses position to Neri Conjuglu. So the race leaders were not held up by the lap traffic, thankfully, now. And with 2 laps to go, there's still nothing between these 2 Ferraris at the front. That last lap, it was a 142.114 for Ray here, 142.108. So 6 thousandths of a second is the gap between 1 and 2, and the 2 German drivers battling for what is the race victory. So we're going to have to wait and see. Meanwhile, other battles on track include Andrade still behind Rake, but Rake closing in on Di Lucia, but not enough by the looks of it. And we got the battle in the background of Samir Foch and Neri Conjuglu. So, but this is the battle to watch. The Lats going very wide out of Sunset into Clubhouse, excuse me. Almost called it Cheetah. Now as we got 18 cars on the lead lap. Interesting enough, you remember Chen was battling Neri and Samir. Chen is already going through the cop while the cars that he was battling were in Clubhouse. So that just goes to show the pace advantage that Lamborghini had. But the pace advantage that these guys have, it won't be enough to catch up to Chen, but it's enough to give us plenty of action now. We're going to have a sector and a lap to go. I do believe if we do not get the white flag on this lap, that would be very interesting, but we should get it as it'll be under 1 lap's time to the end of the race. Latch, though, a little slower this time around. He's almost 6 tenths behind right here. He's going to need a really good final sector if he wants to make a move going into turn 2. It'll probably be his last good overtaking opportunity, and that will be into Crawthorne, as the rest of the track is relatively tricky to make the move on. He does get a really good sector 3, though, but I don't think it's going to be close enough this time around. Gets a solid exit. He's on the rear bumper of right here. You know, are we seeing the white flags? There's the white flags, and there you can see Latz is under 3 tenths behind right here. He is gaining on the Ferrari up ahead, but he's not gaining enough into the braking zones. The straight's just not long enough for Latz to make the move. So we'll just watch from the heli cam. I think that'll give us the best POV. We won't miss any action on track. And it looks like Latz is going to sit behind right here. Right here's going to have a better middle sector, but he gets a little squirmy on the exit of Barbecue. That's going to open up the door for Latz. You can see Latz has a much better run. He's going to be all on the rear bumper. Right here goes defensive into Sunset. Will that give Latz a good run into Clubhouse, perhaps? Latz is all on the rear bumper right here. This is for the race lead. Right here's going to go defensive into Clubhouse. Latz takes a wide line. He's on the rear bumper of right here. You know, the 2 neck and neck is the closest we've seen Latz behind right here going into the S's. You can see there right here getting a better run as expected, but Latz very close behind right here now. Going into the comp, Latz is not close enough to make the move on right here. The question is now, it looks like the Crocodiles and Ingwe are the last 2 spots to make the overtake. Right here, not getting the best of exits. Latz kind of still very close behind right here. Barely under 2 tenths between the 2 Ferraris now. Going through Mineshaft. Can Latz make the move? Right here's going to go defensive. Latz looking to go around the outside into the Crocodiles. He's not. Doesn't break late enough. Going for the switchback. Now as they go into Cheetah, nothing between the 2 of them. Can Latz find his way through? He backs off a look through Cheetah, and right here is going to hold on as long as he gets a good enough exit here. Tom right here comes out of the final corner, and he will win at Kyalami by the smallest of margins over Dennis Latz. Fantastic drive by the 2 Ferraris. One of the best races we've seen this season. What a race for the race victory. Connor Wright will come home in 3rd position. The British driver keeping his championship hopes alive. How slim they are. Gillian Hardenberg finishing P4. You can see it looks like Dakuza crossing the line, lap down behind. Dejan Militic with his best result of the finish will be P5. He's got Richie B for close company in P6, so great job by the two of them. Richie B not running out of fuel this time, thankfully for him. Jay Fang continuing his hot streak, going to finish P7. Chinese driver once again will shoot up the standings by a few positions. Great job for him. Pasquale Di Lucia. You can see Alan Rank did close up at the end there. Pasquale Di Lucia finished P8, Rake P9 with his best result of the season. Andrade P10, Palima P11, P12 is Alexander Irish. Jan Climbs, after a good qualifying, is only able to manage P13. Adam Dubiel, another guy with good qualifying, but had that spin early on, finishes P14th. Ole Pitchich, who served that stop-go penalty, finishes P15, so the Ukrainian with a very strong race. Mario Marin in a P16. There he is, 2 cars that were DNF'd behind him. He actually is going to get beaten to the line by Shooter at the end there. How about that? Shooter beats Marin for 16th. Marin down to 17th. Chen rounds out our lead lap finishers on 18th. Samir Foch finishes 19th. Neri Konjaglu P20. Frank Petrosini P21. James Cali P22. Mateusz Kazicek P23. Tobias Gerhardt P24. Tor Grossa P25. Takuza P26. And Griego Stangrit P27. So that is the race, folks. How about that for a fantastic drive for the day? Our championship leader, Tom Ray here, barely able to hold on and win the race. Let's put him under pressure there on that final lap, bringing us some fantastic driving there on that final lap. But Latz was not able to find his way through, and Tom Ray here is able to hang on and win the race. Latz will finish P2, and Connor Wright finishes P3, and that will be your podium for today. So we'll go ahead now, and we will see if any of the drivers would like to see if they would have a post-race interview. We'll give them a few minutes in case, because that was a very chaotic end to the race. There was a lot of battling. I mean, that battle between Chen, Neri Konjaglu, and Samir Foch was definitely one for the ages. You know, battling only for 19th, but still either way, you know, fantastic stuff either way. So first on, let's go ahead and let's bring our race winner and championship leader in here, Tom Ray here. So let's go ahead and bring him in. And then after him, we'll be interviewing Gillian Hardenberg and whoever else would like to join after there. So first up, we will bring in Tom. Hello there. That was a very close end of the race there. How are you feeling at the end there after barely keeping Latz behind?
I don't know. I'm dead inside. That was so damn close. So much pressure from behind from Latz.
Yeah, I was watching constantly the lap splits in the first and second stint, and there was nothing between the two of them. That was fantastic stuff. We saw a lot of drivers pit early, and obviously you did the undercut. Do you feel that? I mean, I assume that's what won you the race there, was that undercut, and you know, that and your tire strategy, or your setup strategy.
For sure, the undercut just helped me a lot. Actually, I think it forced everybody in the top 5 or so to pit just when I went in. So yeah, but for sure the undercut was quite heavy, considering like I gained about 2 seconds or something at the end of the lap.
It was definitely quick. Another thing that we noticed as the race was going on, it looked like you in the middle sector, you were pulling away or gaining, depending on which stint you're looking at, from Latz, but in the first and third sector, he was gaining on you. Were you running like a higher downforce setup, one designed for the corners, or do you think that was just the exits of the corners were just different for you guys?
No, me and Julian actually ran maximum downforce, so we used the maximum wing.
Huh. That's interesting, because it looked like I was watching, and every time it looked like he was quicker in a straight line. He was getting the some very good exits in the third and first sector. Kind of all the spots are like higher speed, but everywhere in the slower speed areas, it looked like your car was just that much quicker, and that kind of kept him behind. So that being said, now you got your third win out of 4 races. You know, you got to be ecstatic, I assume, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, I'm only gonna watch how Sandwood is going to go, but yeah.
Yeah,
I'm happy about the result, but honestly, considering that Julian actually let me by, because I mean, you saw Let's wasn't able to overtake me, even though he had way more top speed.
yeah.
I think if Julian wouldn't have let me by in lap 4 or 5, I think I don't know. I think Let's would have won quite easily.
Yeah, it was a very close race. You guys were tit for tat on pace there. Um,
Yep.
now another thing, towards the end there, you saw the two lap cars that were battling out ahead of you. What was going
Oh
through your
my
head there?
god, yeah. I mean, I know that Sir Fogg isn't the type of guy that just keeps blocking, so he has a better race. So
Yeah.
I knew, okay, in the end, at least one car is going to let me by quite easily. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think the second guy was a Lexus or something. He also made quite good space. So yeah, I was kind of getting nervous. I think I was flashing like 5 or 6 times, just praying that they're gonna get that they are going to let us pass. My God, English is hard.
That's
But
okay.
yeah,
Don't worry about it.
in the end, it luckily worked out.
Yeah, it worked out fantastic for you today. I mean, you're able to hold on to that race victory. All you got to do next week to win the championship is either beat Connor Wright, or I believe you just need to finish within several positions of him. So, and you mentioned you're not looking forward to Spa, or you're just trying to not do that, I presume. So you're just gonna full send it then at the Netherlands, basically to win it, or you're just gonna drive like you're gonna prepare for like a more safer race. What are you thinking?
I mean, considering that the Aston Martin is not going to be good around Zandvoort and the Ferrari is good everywhere, I think I'm just gonna focus on the next race and see where it's going. To be honest, I mean, there's not a lot Connor can do in the next race because, like I said, the Aston is not good around there and the Ferrari is working very well. Plus, he cannot overtake, so if I just keep my composure and just keep it safe, I think I have the championship next race. I mean, I don't know about Spa yet. Maybe if there's a possibility that I could make a guest appearance in Tier 1 just to get used to the guys or something. But if not, I'm just gonna take the last race quite easily.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, we look forward to watching you every race, and you brought some more action, so at least one more with you next week. To see you round out that championship, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for the action, and we look enjoy your night. Now we got 3 out of 4 wins. Maybe we'll make it 4 out of 5. We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
But yeah.
hopefully. So I'll let you go there. Have a wonderful night, and cheers. Good job.
Thanks, man. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too. All right, that was the voice of Tom Ray here. Next up, we're going to bring in Gillian Hardenberg. He had himself a very good race there. I believe he finished P4. Let's go ahead and get him in here in 1 sec. Gonna have to center his name, and here we go. So how are you feeling after that very dark race, you could say, from how it was very dark on the track? How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, not too great, not too great.
Yeah, it was
Of course,
hard to see
after
all the
quali,
cars.
after quali, I was very, very excited, and then the race came. And I don't know why, but I had a lot of oversteer. I was just struggling to even keep it on the track.
Now, is that why you came in for that really early pit stop? Because we did notice that and we were kind of confused as to why you pitted so early. Was it because of oversteer, or did you take some kind of damage that we saw off screen?
No, I kind of messed up my pressures on the rear. They were a bit high, so I thought that might have been the issue why I was having so much oversteer.
Ah, okay.
So I just pitted very early, tried to just get a good second stint, but turned out to not be that issue. It just turned out to be a setup issue.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you still had a very good race there. I mean, it was P4 if I'm correct.
Yes, indeed.
So, I mean, you went P2 to P4, it's still running up towards the front. A lot better of a race than some of your other ones like Bathurst.
Yeah, let's not mention.
No,
Bathurst,
we won't.
shall
We won't. We won't talk about. That's too far in the past.
Yeah, I can't even remember what happened there.
Yeah, I can't even either. So, but rather looking at the past, looking towards the future, how are you feeling about Netherlands coming up? And do you think you'll be able to fix that any kind of oversteering issue that you
Yeah,
had?
for sure, for sure. I mean, Zandvoort should be a very good track for the Ferrari. I've been told.
Yeah, that's
So
what.
I'm very excited to drive there.
Yeah, Tom was very excited about it too, and how the Ferrari was handling. I mean, I personally have not driven the Ferrari there, and last time I drove there was very oversteery. So.
To be honest, I've not seen the track yet either, but I know the layout, so it shouldn't be too hard to get used to.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. And do you now? You do have to remember now it is going to be most likely wet. So are you looking forward to that aspect of the race?
Oh, for sure. Wet driving is a lot of fun.
So you'd rather do the wet over the nighttime, I assume, then?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So.
Very much. No, but the wet is a lot of fun, and definitely on the track where the Ferrari is strong, it should be a lot of fun. Tom will probably fly away again like he did last time, but
We'll have to wait and see on that one, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, he said it's hard to overtake over there, and if you could put it on the front row, I mean, you had good pace early on in the race. It just looks like that setup issue is kind of the difference between them because you weren't. There were at times where I was looking at the deltas and you were matching the top two, but then there's other times where it looks like I guess that oversteering issue kind of hurt you. So
Yeah, for sure. If I did not make a mistake on the lap, I was doing pretty much equal pace to the top guys. I think I was doing 41 mid.
Yep.
But if I made like 1 or 2 mistakes in the lap and the slit, yeah, I lost so much time with it.
yeah, but like that's I'm sure you'll get that fixed out. We've seen you have some great races this season, sorry, and you had a pretty good race otherwise. I mean, P4 you can't complain.
No, exactly. No, Tom overtook me after a while, and then we had some back marker.
Yeah.
That let Tom by and then didn't see me. That cost me like 1.5 seconds. And
Okay.
after that, I kind of just gave up on the hunt.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you still
P4 is solid. I was like, yeah, just take it, just take it.
Yeah, you still gave us plenty of action when we did watch you on board. I mean, it was a little hard to see your car, but that's just because the track is not lit up at all. I mentioned that early on.
My car isn't either.
Yeah, no, your car is it's a very dark livery. It's probably one of my favorite ones on the grid, though. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely looking forward to being able to see it a little better next race in the rain rather than the darkness.
Yes, for sure. It will be good fun.
Yep. So hopefully we can see you back on the front row and then possibly battling for the win next time, rather than just.
I'll do my very best.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So you have yourself a good rest of your evening, and hope you enjoy it because P4 is still a very good result.
Yeah, it's still good. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. So that was the voice of Gillian Hardenberg. He finished P4, had a very good result, but as you could hear, that oversteering issue would explain why he had that early pit stop, and which kind of changed the way his race finished, but still, very strong P4. Last but not least, we'll be bringing in Connor Wright. He finished P3. The British driver had a very good race in his Aston Martin, but he wasn't able to catch up to the front runner, so let's go ahead and let's bring him in here. Hello, Connor. How are you feeling after that race?
Okay, not great. Pace wasn't really there compared to the practice races, but I'll take third, but I'll get a penalty because I crashed into Dubil, the Ferrari, pretty early on, half spun in.
Okay, because we saw that incident, but I wasn't sure if there was contact there. Do you feel like it was just kind of like the incident? Thinking back on it.
Yeah, I went through the corner before a bit wide, touched the gravel, was a bit unstable, but I still braked in the same point that I would do every lap, but I was just carrying a lot more speed, and by that point I couldn't be more than I already was, so.
Gotcha. So that's
my
unfortunate.
fault.
Unfortunate incident to have to think back on, but what is fortunate, I mean, you did finish P3, you had a very good race. Now, Hardenberg mentioned that, he realized that his issue was an oversteering issue, and you just said yourself that you felt like in the practice races you were quicker. Do you have any idea, what kind of went wrong today, or?
The grip just wasn't the same. Even straight lap 1, turn 1, as I accelerated, the rear snapped, and it surprised me quite a lot. And then the first few laps I was doing 42.7, 42.8, whereas yesterday and the day before in our practice races they were 41.8, 41.7. And then coming out of the pits on the fresh tyres, I'd be looking to do low 41s to mid, and yet I was doing 42 still.
That would explain it. I mean, you still had a good drive otherwise. I mean, after between you and Hardenberg, there was a huge gap, so
yeah,
definitely can't complain. Now, are you looking forward to next week being Zandvoort, or not so much?
When I've got to race against Ferraris, and that's definitely the strongest track for the Ferrari, I think, in terms of just raw speed. So probably will not do great.
Gotcha. I mean, hey, you still given us some very good results. I mean, look at what you did in qualifying at Japan last week. I'm sure, the wet weather might stir up a little bit of stuff like it did.
That is a good point. It is wet. So, I mean, but then you got Tom in the wet, and that Ferrari is quite fast. So.
That's true. But, again, think back to Imola. You got to keep your confidence up. So.
Yeah.
So now looking at, I mean, the championship's kind of a little bit wrapped up essentially. I mean, you'll have to beat Tom, which is always a very tall order. But it's looking like you got P2 basically under wraps. The closest competitor, Ole Pitchich, had to stop go today, so he's definitely going to be over 100 points behind you. And Alex Torregrossa was the next closest guy, and he also had a pretty bad race as well. So how does it feel knowing that, yeah, okay, so you can't win it. That's not great. But you're basically guaranteed P2 as long as you finish these last 2 races.
There's probably some sort of curse where you can't win the championship 2 seasons in a row or something. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess there is something, because I do have a note from the beginning of the season that you were up in the championship last season, but
yeah,
hey, top 2 though, 2 seasons in a row is very respectable. I mean, it's better than I've ever done. So, so yeah, I guess do you feel? I guess yeah, kind of mixed feelings about Zandvoort, but you know, hey, you always bring us some good action on track.
yeah.
Always bring
We'll
us
see
some
what
fantastic.
happens.
Yeah, we'll
You
see what
never know.
happens. Yeah, you got to keep your hopes up, and you've always given us fantastic action. So I do look forward to seeing what you bring next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hope you have a wonderful night, and congrats on the 3rd place finish. So that was the voice of Connor right here. And that will round out our interviews for today. Once again, that was a very exciting race. You know, it came down to the wire for the race victory. And Tom right here was able to take the win there at the end. We thank you all for watching today, and we hope you guys join us next week, you know, for the second to last round at Zandvoort. Like I said, it is projected to rain at Zandvoort, so it'll be a pretty crazy and hectic race, but these Tier 2 drivers are used to rain, as they did get it last week at Imola. So we hope you guys enjoyed this presentation of Apex Online Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione. We hope to see you back next week at 7:30 p.m. UK for another round of fantastic driving. I am Fizzymon, and I'm signing off for today. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful night.